各位线上的好朋友大家好，欢迎收看全民开讲终结假案系列。新冠病毒疫情席卷全球，让人们愈发意识到大家都是生命共同体，彼此紧密相连，比以往任何时候都更加需要良心的力量来扭转世局。太极门气功养生学会特别推出3部5多6绝招影片，传授防疫妙方到200多个国家，用正能量来提升群体的免疫力，让疫情期间大家可以身心平衡。
新冠肺炎疫情持续在全球蔓延着，我们需要采取有效的防疫措施来减缓扩散。让我们一起来了解防疫的3不5多与6绝招，来保护你我的健康与安全。5多是多洗手、多喝温开水、多运动、多欢喜与多防范。3不是不生气、不忧虑、不紧张。6绝招有：勤洗手、戴口罩、保持社交距离、维持正向思考、避免接触眼、鼻和口，做好呼吸运动，提升肺活量，确实做到防疫妙招，守护你我的健康与安全，共同合力，一起安心度过疫情。
太极门掌门人洪道子博士于世界各地推广良心和平文化，在奥地利、印度、意大利、美国获颁各种奖项。2014年发起良心时代运动，并于2018年在纽约邀约各国驻联合国大使参与高峰会论坛，探讨用爱与良心促进和平文化。2019年6月，由巴林王国提出用爱与良心促进和平文化的决议文，于同年7月25日经第73届联合国大会通过，并订定每年4月5日为国际良心日。意大利新兴宗教研究中心创办人暨寒冬杂志总编辑马西莫博士长期研究太极门，对太极门掌门人洪道子博士非常推崇，说了一个生动的故事来比喻。
I'm a sociologist of religion, and I'm studying and have studied the ideas of Dr. Hong, and I find them very interesting and very relevant. The Buddha befriended 3 young men, very rich young men, very spoiled young men, and one day the house where these 3 young men are living is on fire. But the 3 young men are so spoiled that they don't manage to realize the house is on fire and they are going to die. So the Buddha tries to figure out how to save these young men, and he realizes talking to them is not useful. They will simply not understand. So the Buddha sends 3 beautiful chariots, very beautiful, and he entices the young man to go out of the home which is burning and board the chariots. They don't realize the home is burning, but they like the chariots. They are beautiful and nice, so they board the chariots and get saved. Now, this story in the life of Buddha corresponds more or less exactly to what we are witnessing tonight. Dr. Hong and Phopal, they are sending the chariots, or perhaps they are the chariots. Our world is burning. There is a lot of smoke, a lot of fire. We are at serious risk to die. We don't realize it. If somebody will talk to us, we will not understand. So that's exactly the mission of Dr. Hong and Phopal. They send the chariots. We saw the chariots tonight. Nice martial arts, nice songs, nice dance. And so we can board these chariots and escape out of our burning house and save ourselves. And so I believe tonight we see something extremely important. We saw the way out. We saw the way to salvation. We saw the way out of destruction, of fire, of smoke, of dread, of distraction. Let's board the chariot. Perhaps we only board the chariot because they are beautiful. It doesn't matter. Perhaps we don't understand. We only like the words, the sounds, the music. It doesn't matter. Let's board the chariot Dr. Hong is offering to us. Let's board the chariot and get saved. I believe that's the lesson of this event. That's the lesson of the Day of Conscience. So thank you, Dr. Hong, for offering to us the chariots. And let's all board the chariots, get saved from our burning house. That's our war. Thank you.
台湾一直以来给国际社会的形象是高度民主自由的国家。台湾宪法保障人民的各种自由。然而，太极门案件从去年以来，在国际学者之间持续发酵。截至目前，在寒冬杂志和人权无国界组织已刊登超过上百篇探讨太极门案件的文章，更有无数场的论坛。太极门案为何如此引起国际关注？诚如寒冬杂志总编辑暨意大利新兴宗教研究中心创办人马西莫博士所言，因为这个案子从来不是一个单纯的税务案件，而是人权案件。
What is the Taijimen case and what the Taijimen case is not? The Taijimen case is a case of freedom of religion or belief form, which we can divide in 4 types. Type 1, we all know that Taiwan enjoys religious liberty, unlike mainland China, but it was not always the case. Taiwan had a policy of controlling and repressing independent religious movements during the martial law period and beyond. And in 1996, religious and spiritual groups suspected of not supporting the president were severely repressed. Taijimen was also involved in this, even if it never took political sides. Its grandmaster or Shifu, Dr. Hong, was arrested and members were persecuted. Second time, the total victory of Taijimen up to the highest courts in Taiwan. Taijimen won all the court cases. Dr. Hong and his co-defendants were declared innocent and even awarded compensation money for the past unjust detention. Time number 3, however, a byproduct of this form persecution remain in the shape of tax bills. even if the courts had said there was no tax evasion, the Tax Bureau continued to try to impose bills on Dr. Hong and Taiji Men. The Tax Bureau revoked all the bills except one for the year 1992 based on a technicality. And time number 4, even if courts of law told them not to do it, the Tax Bureau and the Enforcement Agency in 2020 auctioned and then confiscated lands belonging to Dr. Hong and intended for a spiritual cultivation center of Taiji Men. Now, it's important that we understand what the Taiji Men case is not. It's not a tax dispute between a citizen and the government. It will not create so much commotion. Of course, the case shows some injustice in Taiwanese tax bureaucracy, but we should remember that the root is the form. It's a freedom of religion or belief case, and what is done to Taiji Men is violation of form. Number 2, it's not about money. Taiji Men might have settled with the tax office and spent much less money than they did in prosecuting this case for 25 years, but it's about form. It's not about money, and that's why the case continues. And number 3, it's not a protest against Taiwan or the Taiwanese system. Those of the Taiji Men who live in Taiwan, who are Taiwanese citizens, they love their country, they are patriots, they understand Taiwan has a lot of problems, and precisely because of this, they want Taiwan to have a good image as a country where form is respected. So it is a form case, and because it is a form case, thousands of people are in the streets in Taiwan protesting about it. And because it's a form case, I believe it deserves to be internationalized, and all the governments, agencies, NGOs caring for form should care for this case, and not to be misled into dismissing it as a private tax dispute between a citizen and the state, but understand that fundamental principles of freedom of religion and belief and respect for spiritual minorities are at work in this important case. Thank you.
2021年12月7日，平反1219行动联盟及太极门弟子在全球的政治文化经济中心美国首府华盛顿国会山庄举行首次国际记者会，揭露太极门师徒至今仍遭受台湾少数流氓官员透过刑法与税捐双重迫害25年的真相。马西莫博士为了参与此场国际记者会，不畏惧 COVID-19 病毒的威胁，特地从意大利专程来到华盛顿特区，呼吁台湾政府摆脱过去威权的阴霾，尽速解决太极门案，保障宗教信仰自由，恢复其作为真正尊重人权的民主国际形象。
We asked you and those following us by Zoom or YouTube to be here today for a very important human rights case. It's now several years I have spoken in various fora, including international human rights events and academic conferences about the Taiji Men case. And I'm always afraid that some misunderstanding may happen, because I fully understand it will be a logical reaction to say that's a very complicated Taiwanese tax law, so let's take it to Taiwanese lawyers and they should solve it. But that's a total misunderstanding. It is not, and it never was, a pure tax case. As we said, it's on two accounts a human rights case. First, it's a human rights case because the first human right is freedom of religion or belief. And this case started in 1996 when there was a massive denial of freedom of religion or belief in the post-authoritarian Taiwanese context. Whatever happened in subsequent years derives from this fundamental violation of freedom of religion and belief and continues to be, to this very day, a violation of freedom of religion or belief. As Willy Fautré said, it is also a violation of human rights because it's a case of administrative corruption. As the United Nations have recognized, corruption is a violation of human rights. It prevents citizens from enjoying their human rights. And so it's a serious problem of corruption. Even the US State Department, in their yearly human rights report, they praise Taiwan in many accounts, and rightly so, but they say Taiwan has a problem of bureaucratic corruption it should solve. And the Taijimen case is a case where human rights of the Taijimen community were violated through corruption. Is it a tax case? Is it a human rights case? But it's not an academic question, it's a very practical question. Because if it was a pure tax case, that's something to be solved by Taiwanese lawyers. Why bother to come to Washington, D.C. and discuss this case? Well, the answer is precisely because it's not primarily, and certainly it's not exclusively a tax case. It's a case of human rights. It is an established, recognized principle that it is the right and the duty of the international community to protect human rights. And it's needed that the international community takes an interest, as it is doing, and takes a stand in the violation of the Taijimen human rights in Taiwan. Let me conclude with a personal remarks. I'm Italian, and in Italy we have this expression of a dialogue of deaf people. Two deaf people try to talk to each other, but they cannot have a dialogue. So in this case, we have, on the one hand, the Taijimen dizzy. Many Taiwanese scholars from leading universities, they are not dizzy, but they have written about this case. And growingly, dozens of international scholars and human rights activists who have participated in conferences and seminars and webinars about the Taijimen case, and they all say, look, it's a question of freedom of religion or belief, and it's a question of human rights. And on the other hand, we have the Taiwanese authorities, which said, sorry, but for the year 92, the statute of limitation has expired, so there is nothing we can do. But this is false because it's an internationally recognized principle that when gross violations of human rights are acknowledged, the situation should always be rectified. And if there is no administrative remedy, there is always a political remedy. that we live in an historical moment when Taiwan needs a maximum of support from its international friends. But a precondition for this support to be effective is for Taiwan to put its own house in order and get rid of these ghosts of its authoritarian past, settle the scores of the authoritarian past, and solve the cases coming from the authoritarian past. And today, the biggest score to be settled, the one generating the most massive domestic and international protest, is the Taijimen case. It is not because we are against Taiwan, it's the contrary. It's because we are friends of Taiwan and we want to protect Taiwan in a moment of need that we ask Taiwan, please get rid of this problem which is damaging you in a crucial historical moment for you. Get rid of this problem, get rid of your bad past, walk in the path of democracy and solve the Taijimen case.
2021年12月，25位国际专家联署致信给蔡英文总统，敦促总统尽速解决指标性的太极门案件。马西莫教授也提出声明，太极门案不解决，台湾的国际形象将继续受损。不解决太极门案，就是台湾送给敌人最好的礼物，而唯一可能解决的方案是透过政治。在此报告小英总统，太极门案不再只是台湾国内事务，而是国际关注的议题。全世界现在都在注视着您，等待您的答复。敦请小英总统果断的、立即的采取行动，纠正国税局和行政执行署的歧视行径，立即撤销违法税单，返还太极门师徒修行圣地，还给太极门师徒清白与公道，以重新点亮台湾民主灯塔的招牌。感谢线上好朋友的支持与收看，祝福大家平安、健康、喜乐。
Conscience in your heart, conscience in my heart, conscience in our hearts. Conscience is the guidance of the soul. Let us tell right from wrong. Conscience is the guidance of the soul. Gives us wisdom to tell true from false. Conscience is the calling from the soul. Guides us to do good deeds in our lives. Conscience is the eye of the soul. Lights up our lives and lights up the world. Conscience is breathing nations